Your Tigers fall to the Arkansas Razorbacks in Game 4 of 2024. This is our post-game reaction live stream. And of course, as some of you choose to utilize it, a therapy session. Let's get into all the things, stats, discussions, and reactions right now. War Eagle Auburn family, and a special War Eagle and welcome to those of you that consider yourselves part of the E2C Network family, the best little family within the Auburn family. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, spending some time being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. Folks, it is always great to be an Auburn Tiger. It's always good to be with you here, even under the worst of circumstances. And tonight is definitely one of those worst of circumstances. Auburn falls at home to the Arkansas Razorbacks, 24-14. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. I know basically where most of the conversation wants to shift, and most of the conversation probably needs to shift. But we're also going to look at some stats, as much as I know that y'all don't want to talk about a few of those things. But this does become a bit of a therapy session. I want to encourage you guys to do something as a collective as well. First of all, let me go ahead and do this to start the show. If you can't tell from my voice, maybe it sounds a little bit better right now. I have had a very bad sick day on game day, and I made it to the game. I made it to the majority of the things that I do for you guys through E2C Network on campus, but it has been a day for me, and even outside of the results of the game. So if I seem a little bit off today, tired, there's good reason why I'm hanging on by a thread and not because of the results of the game. So let me put that out there real quick. Second of all, I want to encourage us to do things differently. I want us to be different than the typical patterns of old that people do on social media, that people do on message boards and stuff, and not go with this sky is falling type of scenario and all this kind of stuff. Are things good right now? No, they are not. They are far from good. As we talked about in our preview and prediction show, this was a decider for who would find themselves in, at least at this part of the season, in the bottom of the SEC. Auburn finds itself and put itself there mostly in the bottom of the SEC, down there with your Floridas and your Mississippi States and your Vanderbilts and all that kind of stuff. There's no mincing around that. It's just the way it is. So, but, there's going to be some narratives I know that y'all want to talk to, some things that are probably overdone, overblown. Let's try to be a little bit different than the masses out there. So just kind of a quick overarching statement about that and that topic alone. As you guys are coming in, please do make sure you smash the like button if you enjoy our type of content. If you don't enjoy it, sorry, but we would appreciate the like. The like is not about the team's performance. It is about us and people becoming part of our little family within the Auburn family. Obviously, as you come in, let us know that you're here as well. Keep in mind that we will only be taking comments and questions throughout the stream that are productive, constructive, and relevant to our conversation. All right, I don't even know where to begin here. Well, let's start here. I know there's some here's a good place to start. Bryant says growing pains. It is growing pains, Bryant. It is. The question would be, were these growing pains necessary? That's another bigger, badder question for another day. But this is certainly a reckoning day for a lot of people that sold themselves on 5 stars and recruiting. And, this was going to be, different this year. That this is it's a moment of humbling and a moment of understanding where you're at as a program. And a lot of people want to shift to the typical things. Fire the coach. Fire this person. Sit this person down. It ain't that simple, my friend. It ain't that simple. Bringing a good thing to the table. Samuel says KLS is the only bright spot on the team. I would highly disagree with you on this. A lot of you need to apologize to Peyton Thorne, not because he played outstanding in this game, but you don't have a snowball's chance in this game if it wasn't for one Peyton Thorne. He's the only reason that you even had a shot. And a lot of humble pie being had in that stadium today, and it was a nice refreshing thing for people to have to sit back and take it. Some of the stuff that they were given, and it's kind of nice to see that, to be honest with you. And I'm probably talking about some of you in this chat. it's probably time to slow down in your criticism and just let the players play. Now, that is not me saying that Peyton played outstanding. Didn't play outstanding. Played well enough to put us into a position to compete. Probably not to win by the end of the thing, but a position to compete. Brian points out that our defense was on the field way too long. Absolutely agree. I will find outside of me, again, we are doing a reaction show, okay? Because we're barely looking at stats. We're barely looking at some of these things. We're just kind of touching the surface of all this. This is what this is about. So we're going to get something wrong in all of this. Our defense, I don't think, deserves a lot of criticism today outside of the third and longs that constantly arise. A lot of people are going to point to coaching, not rushing enough. It's not that simple, folks. It's just not that simple. I find very few flaws. No, I shouldn't say flaws. The gripes that I have for the defense at this moment are far outweighed by the offense, which is, again, the complete juxtaposition of what we had last time. And was reversed the last time before that. So maybe, folks, don't focus so much on one thing and harp on it. Just saddle up. It's going to be a season. It is definitely going to be a season. Corey bringing good perspective to the stream, and I think I didn't do this. Two things I didn't do at the start of the stream I should have. Let's address this first. Obviously, Champ Anthony with a horrific leg injury. I do not know the details of it at this moment, but obviously just sad. Glad that he went off smiling, but from what I was told by the person standing next to me when it happened, and I happened to be, I guess, looking at a different player, he said he saw his foot going the other way. So you surmise what happened there. But prayers up for Champ Anthony in recovery. Also, I need to do a better job of this at the start of the streams, especially these. I'm all choked up about it. Arkansas fans, because I know y'all are the most toxic group on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. That would be, never mind. I'm not going to do it. On YouTube. Congrats to you all. Congrats to the win. You guys definitely put yourself in a position to win. I think it's fair to say in this instant that both can be true, that the refs did alter the course of this game. However, we should never have allowed ourselves to be in a position to have the refs altered. So ultimately, it is our fault. But both things can be they're not mutually exclusive. I keep trying to use my mouse over here and it doesn't want to work, so that's why I keep bumping the thing. Devin says, Kyle, please say something positive. I can't handle the negativity on Twitter. I had to get off. I think, this is always a great opportunity for you to learn how to use the mute button, to the block button. We've had to do a lot of that over the last couple of weeks here, not just because of losses, but because of the toxicity. We got a lot of DMs for having the audacity to say anything good about Peyton Thorne, anything of support of him. And just because we support him doesn't mean we think he should be the starter. So this is a good time to just reassess. You can have a more even-keeled perspective on things and just get out of the cesspool that is people having hot takes. They're not even hot takes anymore on social media. If you want to get better, you should stay with Hank. So let's talk about this, Stan, a little bit. I will not say I disagree holistically with this, but knowing where I've seen a lot of your commentary come from, I'm going to disagree just because I think you and I are going to be on opposite sides of this. But let's talk about the narrative as a whole. I begged and I pleaded and asked a lot of you guys to wait for Hank Brown to compete against this type of talent, SEC talent. Excuse me. I told you I was a little under the weather. Before we rush to make big assumptions about the kid. He is a redshirt freshman after all. And he did what redshirt freshmen do that are gamers, that are risk takers. They throw the ball into the other player's hands. I find it interesting that a lot of people would have lambasted Peyton Thorne had he done some of the things that Hank did, which is completely hypocritical. But also, I'm willing to bet that some of those might not have been his fault. I know one that was 100% his fault. I know one that maybe is his fault. The one that probably wasn't an interception. I've heard differing opinions on this. People on TV that I've talked to said it was. People in the stands that saw the angle we saw on the Jumbotron, it was not. I can guarantee you on the Jumbotron, it was not it. But either way, you don't throw that type of ball in that. We'll just let that one be. That, we don't have to sit there and dog the kid. A lot of people want me to sit here and just say, I told you so and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. I frankly don't want to do that. And some of you are going to say you're doing that anyway. That's fine. I'm not going to please everybody. But this is why I asked a lot of people to hold your horses on this. I am actually not in favor of switching quarterbacks back and forth. If you will go back in the record, you'll have heard me say that once the swap was made to Hank Brown, it should have stayed that way. And I said that when Peyton Thorne rolled out there, not because I didn't believe in Peyton Thorne and not because I didn't believe or was wanting just to be right about something, but because I don't like that back and forth. I don't think it brings continuity to an offense. But what Hugh Freeze got lambasted for in the Cal game was not changing quarterbacks. And so suddenly it's okay not to change the quarterbacks. And some of you need to be consistent about these things. Peyton Thorne's the only reason today that you are in a position to even have a shot at winning this game. And some of you need to give him some credit. So I know there will be some more commentary about that. So we'll come back to that. How about the halftime show? Trying to keep all the perspective as hard as it is sometimes. We'll have the show up for you later. So please check that out when you can. Let's see here. Brian says time of possession in the first quarter alone was over 10 minutes for Arkansas and 3 minutes for us. So I can only imagine the rest of the game defensive played hard, just got worn down. They did. Doesn't mean that they were perfect and not without faults, but they definitely were tired, and they put some work in today. Kenneth, this is another common criticism of late that I see these things that come from other places, and I'm just this criticism about a 3-man front. It's not that simple. I promise you, it's not that simple. We got some pressure with a 3-man front. Now you got to bring the pressure to get the pressure at times, but you have to be overly cautious with these type of running quarterbacks. And he still got his. And I thought they did a pretty decent job of not letting it get out of hand. Here's what we talked about in our preview show and prediction show. Arkansas could not be allowed to get their passing game going super well outside of a bomb that was ridiculous. It didn't get up. I told y'all I may not make it. I don't know who's more choked up, me or that offense. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. But it's not that simple, I guess is my point. I'm not going to be at the top of my game explaining some of these things tonight. All right, we'll talk to Chris here. It says, you're not talking about and I guess that's supposed to be a curse word, team and coaches perform. You want us to be positive only on your stream. No, Chris, this is often misconstrued and overblown when people get emotional. And you've been here long enough to understand this. So I'm not saying this to try to embarrass you anyway, but you're much better than this comment right here, buddy. No, I don't. Has my commentary been overly positive? No, it has not. Has everybody's comments that I brought up been overly positive? No, but we're going to talk about both sides of it. So just take a breath, chill out, stop getting your feelings because someone has a different opinion than you. I say that for myself as well, for everybody in the room. Let's be different than the Twitter sphere and the social boards, the media boards, all that stuff. So no one has said that. No one has. This is the type of comments that come up every time, and you've been pretty well behaved member of our chat. So I'm calling you to be a little better. Let's see here. Devin says, I wasn't too shocked at Hank's mistakes. Does it say more about coaching? No, I don't think it says more about coaching. It says exactly what it is. Hank is a redshirt freshman who likes to take risk. It's literally verbatim what we talked about on the show. Verbatim. That it's as simple as that. Now, What is a matter of coaching is what Hank just did and how they fix it this week with him. If they're going to go back to him, I don't know. Coach, I've seen some comments from the press conference. I haven't listened to it myself yet, but it does sound like it's up in the air, which is not what I wanted, not what I thought was best for this team. In my perfect world, Hank Brown throws 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, and we're still rolling with Hank Brown. Some of you missed that in my commentary about Peyton Thorne and that. So I was wondering when we get one of these comments, they need to play Walker White. So I guess my question in this narrative, because I knew this was going to come up, and I'm not dogging you, Clay, but you're the guinea pig for this. So what happens when we roll through all of them and it doesn't work? You just want to do that all year? Is that what you want to do? I mean, that's what you want to do. That's fine. I'm just curious. Fred says the Hogs embarrassed us today. You know, I'll say this. As I gave Arkansas credit in the game for getting done what they need to do to win on the road here, which is impressive. You almost have to say, is it embarrassing that they only had a 7-point lead on us with 4 turnovers? It's embarrassing for us, but it's also embarrassing for them too. Let's be real about it. Let's see here. Stan, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know what the thing is. If you got a problem with something I said, let me know in a DM. And are you talking about me saying those comments coming from things that wasn't there? If that's what, it wasn't even about your comment, I believe. So again, I think a lot of people need to take a deep breath when they come on streams like this. Get out of your feelings, chill out. We're here to have a discussion. My goodness, folks, it's just football. I can do that with my sick brain right now. That's saying something. Let's talk about that. The fake punt. I don't know if it was planned or not, but it summarizes everything. Yeah, that's the thing with fake punts and fake field goals and those gimmicky things. If they work, they're brilliant, right? Y'all be singing Hugh Freeze's praises, but if they don't, it makes the situation worse. So it's a no-win situation for Hugh, the coaching staff. If they don't try something like that, then people will say, well, why didn't you try it? So just think about it from both sides of the equation there. More credit for Lambert Smith from Brian Harsh's son. Brian, thanks for doing what you did to us. Appreciate that. Chris says we are 2-2. Enough said. Boom, hugs. Okay, well, yeah, that is true. We are 2-2. Not expected to be that this early in the season. How many snaps did the defense play? I don't think I have that on my stat sheet here. Let's see. I don't think they give us that. I'd have to do a scanning of the condensed version of it, but I don't see anything like that. Why not? I'm a little bit behind in the chat. It says, why not start Walker White? They need to start him. No, they don't need to do anything. They need to, figure out a way to win, and just starting Walker White is not going to solve the problems, folks. I get it. It's the easy thing to say. Well, this one didn't work. Let's switch into the next one. Sometimes you got to dig in. Sometimes you got to work through it. I mean, some people want us to go back to Hank, and if that's what happens, I'm going to support him fully out there. Let's dig in with Hank. But if it's Thorne, let's dig in with Thorne. I don't care. Whoever gets the job done. Sam Jackson, my gosh, now we're getting desperate. Cal fans would be laughing at you. CJ asking any word on Champ Anthony. Did you see what happened? It didn't show it on TV. I did not see it. The person next to me saw it and said it was ugly. I major leg foot injury is all I know at this point. But he was smiling. Apparently, they took that picture of him on the cart going out, at least unless I imagine that. So hopefully he is okay in the grand scheme of things outside of that. I know that's a big thing regardless. Did I abandon my Uber date move into a different area in the post-game show? Can you tell? There used to be like a sign behind me. Yes, I'm in a different area today for a variety of reasons. And it's not just that. That actually, what happened last week on the stream, if y'all haven't seen it, it's hilarious. But no, I am not just in a new place because of that. I experimented a little bit this week. Let's see here. I think I'm way behind here. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny? Where's the hue presser? The hue presser is probably up online on somebody's site. I'm going to make it. I promise. I'm going to make it through this stream. At least y'all know I'm not faking it. I do need to apologize to my Conquer Club people. I wrote a message to you guys in the Eagle tier about the normal stuff I send y'all during the day. Obviously, I wasn't able to do that as much. So post-game pressers, they normally broadcast it out on War Eagle Plus, but I don't know if you can go back and rewatch that. You'll, as much as I hate sending you to someone else's stuff, I mean, there's plenty of other Auburn content creators out there that probably have it up by now. I will probably put it up later once I get home tonight where I'm staying. I'm probably going to crash, though, the way I'm hanging on here by a thread. Yeah, we're going to let Mr. So-and-so go on. Yeah, WT, I mean, obviously you would be very super disappointed with what happened out there. It seemed like some commentary I saw said he apologized or just said it was awful to have to sit there and watch that. Let's see here. Will Oklahoma be an afternoon game? It is an afternoon game. We just don't know when yet. Yeah, that was already announced back in the days. All right, let's get back to this game. Let's talk about some stats since we've caught mostly up in chat. Let's see here. Peyton Thorne is 18, 13 for 22, 213 yards. He amassed some yards very quickly. Two good throws. One was a good hard slant to Lambert Smith. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm gonna make it. I promise. And then the other one was deep down there to Lambert Smith as well. Those were the ones that got his yardage up really high. Hank tonight is only 7 for 13 with 3 interceptions. 54 is his rating. So a horrendous night. So my ask of folks is for you to be consistent. If you are going to criticize Peyton Thorne for his bad game against a better opponent, you must criticize Hank Brown. It must go both ways, or you must give leniency where it is. That's all I'm asking is for people to be consistent on this. Jarquez tonight, 12 attempts on 60, 12 attempts, 67 carries, 24 was his longest run. Damari had a bad game, not just in attempts, probably because he lost some after that, but because of that horrendous fumble. I've seen it posted that maybe if we don't fumble that one, that is what alters the game. You could make an argument for that, but it didn't seem like things were getting that much better throughout the game in a lot of different areas. Hank, I did like, here's something good for Hank tonight. I did like that we showed his ability to move a little bit. He is very slow compared to Peyton Thorne, but he at least was able to pull that ball in a read option and ran out and picked up the first down. So that was a big encouragement. Big encouragement. Stan says no comparison. Hank is a redshirt and Peyton Thorne is a fifth year. Actually, it is a fair comparison. I don't think Stan, you and I are going to agree on this one based on our constant backs and forth about these in this chat. So I think you and I just kind of need to let that go and just agree to disagree on this one. But you are not being consistent with that. No offense, but it's just the way it is. The rest of the receiving, Lambert Smith, 5 catches Yes, 5 catches tonight, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Malcolm Simmons. Did y'all like seeing Malcolm Simmons get a lot more usage today? In the pass game, different types of passes. They did that jet touch pass type of thing, throwing the ball to him. There was one time he should have gotten out of bounds. He didn't. I liked they made a point this week to talk they were going to utilize him, and they did. Fairweather, he had a better game than I thought he did. Cam Coleman, he seemed like he got used less and less as the game went on. I wonder if he tweaked anything on that. So you get Lambert, Smith, Simmons, Fairweather, Coleman, Lewis, Camden Brown is 6, 7 is Perry Thompson, and Alston got a catch. So that's 8, but that's for negative yards. So you spread the ball around quite a little bit tonight. So that's pretty good. I mean, but just not the way we needed it when we needed it. It's comparable with what it's the lower end of what we've been doing typically in wins, but we at least made attempts to spread the ball around. I think what's going to be the biggest criticism and the maybe the most fair argument of anybody talking about this game is, should we have used Jarquez Hunter more? Only 12 carries. I can go with you there a little bit about that. However, you've got to be able to have a well-rounded game. And I think he wanted at times to let Hank throw the ball and see what he could do, so we'd actually understand what his capabilities are against this type of talent. They're a little bit too long, but it is what it is. Lucas wants us to talk about the officiating. Again, let me preface before I talk about this. You should never be in the position to let the officiating affect you. That is said, that is true. But what can also be true is that the referees can alter the game, and they very much did so. Very quick tonight to stop the play to review something for Arkansas's favor, or that would have been in Arkansas's favor, and very slow tonight to do it for us. The touchdown from my perspective at the stadium and looking at the Jumbotron was not a touchdown at the end of the game. Do they punch it in right after that? Probably. But you never know. What was the other interception was not an interception for Hank. It was just bad. It was just bad. It did kill the momentum. We talked about that a little earlier. It did certainly kill that momentum. But it's far from the only issue tonight. Did I miss the flea flicker? Again, I've been sick all day, so I probably missed a ton of those things. Oh, yes, the no call on Asante getting body slammed. I hope that see, here's one of these things. We never have any public accountability for refs, at least that I know of. I think sometimes they put out a statement about a call if it is just egregious, especially if it's like game altering, things like that. But I think that the referees should have to answer for some of their calls, meaning they should have a press conference themselves. Now, some of you are going to say that's a ridiculous idea, Kyle. It's just my personal feelings. You don't have to agree with it. But I would love for them to explain to me how, first of all, you're standing right there. How did you not see him get sumo-plexed? And how is that not unnecessary roughness? This is a offensive lineman on a defender rushing the ball. A holding call, a block in the back call, anything. How is it not? It's been I will agree, Stan. It has been a bad year for officials, and I think that there should be some accountability for that. But with that being, I just said it at the beginning of that. Let me say this again for those of you that want to harp on one thing and not listen, because there are those of you out there. You should never be in a position to let yourself be affected by the outcome of what the refs can do to affect it. So the responsibility lies with us, but they both can be true. Brent says the defense did it to themselves. They didn't get off the field. There is an argument to be had there, but like we said earlier, Brent, I don't know how long you've been here on the stream, but I find very few things to be super upset with the defense tonight. What was a very potent rushing attack and a quarterback that did some crazy things so far this year. I thought they did fairly deep. Taylor Green gets 80 yards on 18 attempts. And he has not a terrible day, because if he doesn't throw that bomb of a touchdown that shouldn't have been, because that was the type of play that kept happening in the homecoming with their quarterback. You just threw it up on a hope and a prayer, and our guy's out of position because you're not supposed to be able to throw it that way. But if he doesn't make that touchdown, he has a horrible day. I mean, he would be at least at minimum 11 and 27. So that would bring his completion down into the even lower 40s. He had 2 interceptions on the day and then he had no touchdowns. So we did a pretty good job. Let's see. Can Taylor Green karate kick a defender in the face? I guess so. Yeah, I guess he could as well. Yes. I don't need to say anything else. Yes. The only interception by Peyton Thorne tonight was not his fault. And if you think it was, you and I can't have a reasonable conversation. Thank you, Kyle, for doing the stream, recording, talking about everything else. Well, appreciate it. I listen, I don't do that for praise. I do appreciate the praise, but I do it because I enjoy doing it. First of all, I wouldn't do it, and I would hate to miss these things. I have the trend of missing one game a year because of life circumstances, and I thought this was going to be it. And I was determined not to have that happen for this game. I think I'm going to pay for it tonight and tomorrow, but even a loss, it's always great to be there and be an Auburn Tiger. Quarterbacks are not seeing receivers and throwing into double coverage, which is worrying. Always remember too, and I'm not saying this isn't a fair criticism, but it is much easier for you to say he's wide open. But if you were standing back there, and if you had had the propensity to be hit as often as our quarterbacks have, and I say quarterbacks, not just one, you might throw into double coverage as well, and you also might be desperate to make something happen for your team. Think about it this week for Hank Brown. He's been pumped up, lauded as the savior of saving everybody from Peyton Thorne. And he has a great game against one of the worst defenses in FBS. Comes in and he wants to prove all this right. Not because they have a bad relationship, him and Peyton Thorne or anything, but because he wants to live up to the expectations. But he's a young kid. Give him a break. But I know most of you aren't going to be criticizing him. Lucas, we talked about this a little earlier. I don't have any personal updates on him, but I do hope that everything works out there. We should give Peyton a break as well. We should give actually Peyton credit for tonight. I think it's fair that Peyton did not make it easy for Cam to catch the ball, which is Peyton's contribution to the interception. I think what you're missing is, and I don't know you personally, Brian Harsin, and thankfully I never knew your alter ego personally. I think you're probably looking for areas to blame Thorne. That's just my assumption, because that's just the popular thing out there. I could be wrong. The rule is, and I say this as a former wide receiver, if it hits you in the hands, it is your responsibility. It doesn't matter how hot it comes in. Because if that's the case, then are we blaming Hank Brown's last interception that shouldn't have been an interception? Because if he doesn't throw it in there that hot, it doesn't come in that timing for the guy to come pick it up off the ground, essentially. So can't have it both ways. That was not Peyton's fault. And if you can't see that, I say this with all the love I can, we cannot have a reasonable conversation. Camden Brown, as much as I love the dude, and I have talked so great about him in the last couple of weeks, what have I talked about for a long time with him? And I do not like giving public criticism about players specifically unless it is 100% warranted. But one of the things that we've talked about with Camden is not being able to hold on to the ball, which he did a great job last week of doing. Was a star. What can Brown do for you? Y'all heard me say it there. That was Camden Brown's fault. Or if it was Camden Brown, I can't remember. But anyway. Corey says, Kyle, do you think we need to go back to basics? What does that mean? Yeah, today would be a great day, whatever that means, to go back to basics. That is frustrating watching 3rd and Auburn happen a lot. It is. Nathan says it's a make or break year next year for Hugh Freeze, 6 and 7. Okay. Well, if we're already jumping into the hyperbole stuff, that's just a little bit over emotional at this point, folks. We're 4 games into the season. Let's let the rest of the year play out. I know it doesn't look good right now. I get it. But this was my call to action for a lot of us to begin the stream. Let's be different. If you're part of our little group here and you come here a lot, you don't have to like me saying this, but I'm calling on you to be better than the rest. Let's not be part of the sky is falling, all this kind of stuff. It's just, I'm tired. I'm done with it. I'm also sick tonight, so I'm even more tired and done with it. But to take what you said and say, of course, if you put together, if you were to put together a losing season this year and you do it again next year, certainly you're going to be on the hot seat. That's of course, but we're not even there yet. Let's just chill out for a little bit. It always could be worse. It always could be worse. That ain't that far away at times, it seems. The way Peyton throws concerns me too. I honestly think Cam got hurt 2 games ago from that. KLS quit trying in that game because he is a vet. He looked like he was struggling catching from PT. CJ, I'm sorry. I'm just if the best argument that people have, and whether it's you or anybody else tonight has against Peyton, is that he threw it too hard, that's just a very weak argument. And I get it. Let me I need everybody to look at me right now. I'm not talking about CJ. I'm not talking about Stan had a problem with my commentary earlier about Peyton, Thorne, and Hank. I just need y'all to look at me and just listen. I can't even, I had this great statement I was going to make and now I've forgotten it in my sick brain. What was it? God, what was I going to say? Some of y'all are looking for a reason to not give Peyton Thorne his credit because it's hard to admit you were wrong. You were wrong today. If you were somebody, whether it was here or somewhere else, that lambasted Peyton Thorne, called him all kinds of awful things, told him he should be benched because of things, and you didn't celebrate him, and you were and when you saw him have success today, you kind of went, that's sad. It's sad that that's where you're at. And I'm not saying that anybody one particular here, but I've seen some of y'all's commentary here. If you can't give Peyton Thorne his credit tonight, you are not being reasonable. You are not being consistent. You are being a hypocrite, and you're not being a good Auburn fan. You have only Peyton Thorne tonight to thank for getting us in a position to compete. Period. Over, said, and done with. That should be the end of the conversation. Now, what happens beyond this point, who knows? I think I know what Will's saying here. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't even think it's worth even bringing up, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see here. Luke says, I like Peyton, but he played a lot better tonight. I'm fine. I'm not saying you have to like him, but give him the credit that he's due tonight. A lot of you owe him an apology tonight. Or more accurately, 1 season and 4 games. As Kyle said, there's a lot of season left. Yes, there is. Okay. Brian, okay, let's see if this is anything or if we're just kind of spiraling here. Like I don't know if this is what he's talking about. Don't get me wrong, PT made us better today, but since we're talking about it, I think the problem with PT's throws is not velocity, but rather ball placement and lack of spiral. Again, I hear you, and that might be a relevant criticism of that. But I think tonight, if that's what we're bringing up, we're really just trying to find ways to save our critical natures. And I'm saying, even though it's not me, we're all a collective. Trust me, a lot of y'all in the collective I do not appreciate sometimes. I think we're just splitting hairs so that we can save face a little bit. Peyton Thorne deserves the credit tonight for giving us a shot. End of story. I think that's just the last thing we talk about on it. Kyle, you were shocked I predicted a low scoring game on this one. I guess maybe I was shocked, but I was going off of what I saw with Hank last week and where I thought Arkansas probably wouldn't be as good in some areas as Cal since they're so one-dimensional. I thought we might be able to score more. I was wrong. Yeah, those Cameron, those type of things get you put in timeout. That's just stupid. That's just stupid whatsoever. Toby, I think this is a direct quote from Freeze. I know that that there's people open. I know that we're running the football. We've got to find a guy that won't throw it to the other team. We've got to find running backs to hold on to. That's pretty on point. It's amazing. He's the head coach, right? Rusty says if we don't turn the ball over, we probably win the game. Probably the most true statement tonight. No arguments there. Kind of like I went back to, I gave Arkansas credit, but it's kind of embarrassing that they didn't beat us as bad as they did. You had that many opportunities and you couldn't do it. Now they turned the ball over a lot too, but yeah. Yeah, that was a very frustrating low score. All right, final thoughts, question, comments, derogatory brothers, get them in or not. As all, well, I'll address that at the end. Couple things coming up. As I've said, I am sick, but we're going to make it through it. We are planning to do something special tomorrow. Every Sunday night at 9 Eastern time, we do the Auburn Experience podcast, which is our flagship show here at E2C Network. We will definitely talk about the weekend, not just about the game, but the weekend, Arkansas weekend, and some other things, and a little bit of Auburn news, potpourri, all across Auburn sports, culture, family stuff. But we're planning to do that at this time tomorrow at 2 p.m. live from campus. So I hope that you can join us. I think there's some other people that go live during that time, so I apologize for that. It's the thing that works best. Here's the caveat. If Kyle wakes up tomorrow and feels even worse than he does right now, you might not see me. But that is the plan. Bear with us. Please be patient. We are trying this for the very first time from campus. It may not go well. We may have to readjust, but we're looking forward to doing that. I will be in Auburn, unless something else happens, for the next week. So stay tuned. Let me recuperate tomorrow, get tomorrow's show done, and we might do some special things from campus. You just never know, or just you'll get more content from Auburn this weekend. So this is why we call ourselves the Auburn Experience, and this is why we love sharing content with you guys. So stay tuned all week, even if you don't like me in my comments here on this stream. Okay, we can do some final comments and questions, and Kyle is going to start wrapping it up and go get in the bed because he's struggling. If you're sick, well, Austin do it solo. No, I don't know that Austin has the capability. I just think he'd get intimidated doing it. And I'm just speaking based on how I know him as his friend. Bruce just bringing rays of sunshine in here. Let's see here. Corey says today is the past. Let's hope for a better Saturday next week. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. WT with the good perspective. If we'd scored more points, we would have won. That's always a classic dad joke. Let's see here. 313 says people treating this loss like we lost to Eastern Michigan. Arkansas is a pretty solid team that plays hard, aggressive football. 313. Let me take what you said. I like the sentiment. I disagree with your statement about Arkansas. Arkansas is not a good team. let me just put that out there right now and agree with probably the negative Nancy's out there. Arkansas is not a good team. They are one-dimensional. What they do with that one-dimensional, they do pretty well. But had we not turned the ball over 5 times tonight and gotten a little bit of better reffing in here, we win the game at home. I'm 100% confident in that. Arkansas is not a good team. Neither are we at this time. But here's the great thing about 8 more games in the season. Both of us have the opportunity to change that. The one conclusion I have come for myself is I will watch all games on replay if we win. Can't watch live anymore. Stomach and knots. Well, CJ, buddy, if that's, you do need to stop if that's seriously happened. I think you're just making a funny point here. I hope that's not the reality. That football is in way too important of a place. Don't have physical discomfort over this. I don't. Could always be worse. It always could. You know, it doesn't seem like it, but it could. All right, folks, look, thank you so much once again for hanging out with me, spending some time in our therapy post-game session. And I know these are always, sadly, the most viewed ones, which I think says something about our society. And just go look at the stats of the shows and compare them, the ones we win and we lose. But I do appreciate you being here and hanging out with us tonight. We don't always agree, and that's okay. But what I do ask is for you to be the best version of the Auburn family that you can possibly be here when you're spending time with us. And if you can't do that, we will certainly show you the door, but we'll also talk about it. So if you got your feelings hurt tonight, I'm sorry. If you got your feelings hurt for the reason being a good one, I hope you'll understand. And we'll certainly probably do it again because we like to be real with y'all. We like to be authentic. We like to talk about all the different angles and try our best to understand the roller coaster that is the Auburn experience and Auburn football. Put a smile on your face, folks. It's always great to be an Auburn Tiger, rain or shine, well or sick, like me. But I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with me. Till I talk to you again, War Eagle.